Hey guys, my name is Joseph Lucero. I'm with Powerlifting Technique, and today the question is about should powerlifters do strongman or if they shouldn't. And I'm here to tell you every powerlifter should try to do strongman. And I just want you to hear me out because there could be some confusion, but it's going to make a lot of sense in just a minute. So why should or shouldn't powerlifters consider entering strongman competitions? The thing about it is this: in powerlifting, you got the squat, the bench, the deadlift. You got people who become experts in the movement. They've really mastered the movement. They've been powerlifters for years. The problem that can happen is when you think about growth and development in powerlifting, it's not just going to be linear. It's not going to be, okay, I add a few pounds every week, I'm going to get stronger. Some people misunderstand this concept of powerlifting where if you just add a little weight every time, there's no way you could get stronger. The problem is that when you first start powerlifting, any kind of stimulus is going to make you stronger. I've met some people who've done some crazy things where one person, he told me he got to 300-pound bench press and he would bench the bar every day, 100 reps, and then the next week 110, and then 120, and then eventually he got up to benching 300 pounds from doing all this volume work. And the biggest thing is when you start lifting weights, anything's going to make you stronger. So whether it's push-ups, barbell bench, whatever you want to do, it's going to make you stronger because it's something you typically don't do. So when you go from not lifting to lifting, that stimulus is strong enough to evoke muscular strength and muscular development, so like building size. But as you master movement, so let's say you're 3 or 4 years in and you started to master the powerlifting events, squat, bench, deadlift, that stimulus of just lifting, especially those movements, it might not be as strong. Like coffee. I love coffee. Most people drink a cup or two a day and they're set. But because I already love coffee and enjoy it so much, maybe instead of 1 or 2 cups, I need 3 or 4 just because I've gotten used to the stimulus. It's the same thing with weightlifting. You got to change it up. They talk about confusing the muscle. I really don't like hearing that. It just sounds too silly to me. But in a way it is true, because when you do different variations of those events, then you're recruiting muscles that maybe haven't been used in a while, and then that's where the soreness kicks in. Another way to explain it real quick is if you practice a movement enough, like they say it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. When you master a skill, you really want to use less muscular recruitment because you want to save and conserve energy. A football player who's thrown a football 1,000 times probably uses less and less muscle because they've learned how to refine the mechanics and to use less energy. We can think of it the same way with the squat, the bench, the deadlift. They're all very hard lifts. So don't think I'm saying that they're not going to become hard. But once you've refined it, your body gets used to it. That stimulus for evoking soreness and muscle damage to build bigger muscle, it goes away. So when you do strongman, that's awkward strength. And mastering those movements are very hard. But I'm not asking any powerlifter to master strongman events. I'm just saying implement them more, especially in your off season, and that'll help evoke the soreness, the growth, and maybe that little spark to help you push past any plateaus you have in your training. And to get back to the question if strongman powerlifters should consider strongman competitions, why not compete? Powerlifters, they just get so narrow focused on the platform. If you get to go do a strongman competition and just say, hey, it's for fun, it's something different, that challenge can help you learn how to be more competitive and to give you that edge you need on meet day, so that on the platform you don't get as nervous because you continue to compete all year long. And to get to the next question about this conversation, it's going to be about where they would excel and where they would struggle in strongman. So I definitely think that when it comes to strongman events, powerlifters will probably do good with and grip events, just because you got to hold the deadlift bar. And I think about carrying, you hold the weight in your hands and stuff like that, especially in the deadlift. So I think that they would do okay in those events. Those don't seem as techniques like heavy as like maybe an overhead press would be, axle, the log, having to clean it, press it, or maybe the throwing events, because typically aren't exploding with their hips tremendously. So I think the events that they would do well in is the carries, the grip events, but maybe not as well in the overhead or the throwing events, just because it's different. Powerlifters are so used to horizontal pressing, they're not used to vertical pressing. But I could be wrong. If you think about it too, if you learn how to master the clean and the overhead press and the throwing events, those are working parts of your anatomy that maybe aren't getting as used often in powerlifting. It could be that little change that you need. And then how do you prep for a strongman competition? It's just like powerlifting in general. You got to find your weak points, your strong points, and how to cater to both. I think someone who's new to powerlifting, I'll give you some sound advice right now. Deconstruct the events and start off with the basics in your training and then eventually evolve into event training at the end of your prep. So let's say you're going to do a farmer walk and you've never done it before. The big thing I would suggest would be maybe getting, if it's a farmer or a frame or whatever it is, start off with maybe holds. So grab it, hold it, use a percentage of competition weight, and then maybe use those attachments to do deadlifts. Like maybe you do frame deadlifts or farmer deadlifts and then do holds, and then eventually you start walking. Maybe 1 week you walk to failure with 70% of competition weight, and then the next week you hold 80%, and then you walk to failure with 80%, and then you hold 90. So you climb up each week, whether it's holds or walks, and you can do it like that just to get used to event training. There's a lot of other things we can discuss with this, but just in general, I believe powerlifters should do strongman training because it's going to help evoke a different stimulus for growth and development. It's going to redirect your thoughts, maybe make training exciting again, and push you past those plateaus that you've had. If you want to know more, we actually done something about strongman, powerlifting versus strongman. There's an article on our website. Feel free to check us out at powerliftingtechnique.com. Find that article and you'll find more information about this topic and what it means to compare both. So again, my name is Joseph Lucero. I'm a Powerlifting Technique, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It makes sense, and you start strongman training today.